Alright everyone, it's Friday, we're nearly at the end of the working week. If you work Monday to Friday, I always have people saying, I don't work Monday to Friday. The bad news is we don't have Celtic this weekend. How are we all going to cope? I don't really know the answer to that, but I guess I have good news, or maybe it's just irrelevant news. Stevie is back on for a chat. Hello Stevie.
Hello, Hamish. Yes, I think it's worse than irrelevant news, to be honest. It's definitely bad news when you've got me on here. That audience turning away in droves. But hey, we will soldier on regardless.
I've got some genuinely really positive news, Stevie. It's the end of the season, and that means we don't have to hang out quite as often. How good is
Brilliant.
that?
It's amazing. Don't need to keep up this charade anymore. You can just be opening on to each other, the fairies. It's just purely a professional relationship. No, it's like Cole and Sheringham together. Andy Cole and Sheringham and that United 99 team. Hated each other, but they were professionals and got on with it for the greater good.
I think Celtic must have had Aidan McGeady and Artur Boric. I think they quite obviously didn't get on.
Aye, that's right. That's a good wee segment to the line. I know you'll be
Who do you
struggling
think
for
doesn't get
content,
on
so.
in the current team? Do you want to just, if you can't think of anyone, just make a rumour up?
Oh, no, I don't, because people take it dead seriously, man, and you'll get a hit put on you or something there. No, I don't even do that, even for a joke. But
Okay.
no, I can't think MD in that team like would genuinely not get on with each other. It's a very different world now compared to back then with Naylor and Boric and McGeady and all that all scrapping. So, nah,
Yeah.
I generally can't think of anyone.
Is it Spartak Moscow home game with
Aye,
Naylor and Boric just before
yeah.
half time?
Because that boy, Bistrov on the right wing he annihilated Lee Naylor in the first half, just like time after time. Just honestly, it was actually hard to watch. That was when it was on the old BBC as well. Remember, but yeah,
Yeah.
aye, Boris just went through. I mean, to be fair, I think it worked because the second half Bistrov was pretty ineffective. So aye, well done,
Yeah.
well done to him for squaring up to him.
Pavlyuchenko in that Spartak team. Remember Mozart as well. They were a hell of a team. We beat
I know.
great knockout tie, that wasn't it, back in the old days.
One of the great.
Any other on pitch Celtic arguments you can remember recently? Can't even remember any.
I can't remember any recently. No, certainly not in recent years. No in this era anyway. But no, I mean, you were going to say that word, wouldn't you?
the woke era.
Oh, nah, I can't. Off the top of my head, I can't really think. But no doubt, this the gifted knowledge of the audience will probably be able to remember, like in 2 or 3 seconds, like real professionals, unlike us amateurs. Hamish.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to think. I mean, there's been a lot of scraps with other teams or players from other teams, but I can't think of any over the last 10 years between Celtic players.
Who's a big? Aye, Boyer and Dyer. I liked that one. That was a classic.
Yeah.
Superb.
Yeah, both get sent off, didn't they?
Aye.
How raging would you be? Anyway. Yeah, how was Saturday, Stevie? Must have been a fun one.
How a hand?
Oh, I got a lie-in, I got up and I got a big sausage roll for the market here. And then I think there was a game on later in the day.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great day afterwards on Saturday. As I've been speaking to you and everything in chats leading up to though, like it was a very low key build up. Spoke to you about that, and I think the games certainly in that first half anyway just fizzled out. There was like nothing to it. Second half picked up a wee bit, but yeah, I'd be lying if I said it was a classic. But all that matters in the finals, and I've said it time and time again since Saturday. You can talk about being the better team. You can talk about, oh, well, we had the better chances and goals disallowed and whatever. But the history books always just remember that Celtic were the winners, and that's all that matters. And that is the bottom line, really. I mean, it was all just about winning that final. Don't care how we did it. I mean, we've seen some stinkers over the years anyway. Remember that the worst I'd ever seen was the 2007. Remember John Joe Perrier Dumby with a goal. Ah, it was terrible. I was in Florida for that one actually. I remember getting up at a stupid time to watch it, and just remember like the times in the second half. It was a real struggle. But again, like as much as that was a stinking final, Celtic won it, and that's what you really tend to remember, isn't it? So that's what it's all about. Yeah, Saturday was fantastic, but unlike Trophy Day, I actually did behave myself just right up the road after it, and wasn't on the booze. I won't go into my antics after trophy day. But aye, Elvino did flow, Hamish, I've got to say.
Yeah. Stevie, lager. Hamish, lager. Name redacted, lager. Sometimes cider.
He asked if I drink. Yeah, he drinks.
No, I think there's been a lot of nonsense spouted by some people after that cup final, and Celtic weren't great. We were still the better team for the majority of that match. I mean, the first half, I read somewhere some journalist saying that Celtic had been hanging on for 89 minutes of that match before scoring. I mean, that is an insult to even our intelligence. Celtic were.
Please tell me
that
what Joe
first
Hart
half,
had to do. What did Joe Hart have to do?
he had a couple of like P rollers with no conviction at all that he had to kind of hold on to, but there genuinely there was nothing. Celtic were the only team there trying to play, and yeah, Rangers grew into it, and we kind of looked a bit rattled in the second half. Listen, I don't think it was a vintage Celtic performance at all, but I just thought it was symptomatic kind of the season, or the majority of the season. We got the job done by any means necessary, and we're going to be looking back at that season as being ultimately a really successful one. I mean, the last month is about as enjoyable a month as I've ever had supporting Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, for all the infighting, the disagreements, and the general unhappy atmosphere that plagued this season, all I really remember now is everything from after that Easter break. I mean, after we beat Livingston 3-0, we just ramped up. We showed why we've got that winning mentality just took right over. It really did, and the spine of the team just grew into the season, and they all really stepped up a gear. And coupled with the return of James Forrest, just in sensational form. I've never seen any. I would argue that like Forrest form in those last 4 and 5 weeks are better than I've seen him at the peak of his Celtic career, like under 16, 17 and everything. I thought he was just marvellous, and I was so delighted for him. And as I say, coupled with the fact that Matt O'Reilly came good after I remember he had a wee bit of a sticky spell from like February to March. Like he ended the season on a high. He was magnificent. And yeah, when I look back at this season, for all the moans and all the complaints that I did have through it, and there was plenty of it, you know that. I know. All I will remember is the last 4 and 5 weeks is Celtic doing what they always do, and stepping up, winning more trophies and giving us more memories, and that's all I can really ask for. That's why we invest. That's why we put this stupid amounts of money into the club. That's why we're idiots in that respect, because we just want to see Celtic always being successful. And Celtic will be successful, you know, as long as they continue to get investment from mugs like us and thousands of others ploughing their cash in. Because frankly, that's all we want. You don't just rest on it and just want to see, you know, like a couple of good seasons and then you'll go, that's a bit of a write-off. We don't need to see this every season, because what we invest in the club, I've said it and time again to you on here, it's a bare minimum. We want to see success and we want to see trophies, Hamish. And yeah, the club. I mean, Brendan Rodgers and the team really stepped up and delivered it. And they've got a hell of a lot to do in the pre-season as well. Obviously, we're not going to go into that right now. I think deservedly they can take their time off and enjoy it. But yeah, they're going to have a very, very busy pre-season indeed. Quite a few positions to fill as well.
I just think, obviously we want to win the domestic trophies next season, and I think that'll take care of itself if we strengthen the squad accordingly. But I think generally as a support, we really want some results in Europe next season, and I think this new format may suit us in a weird way. We've got a couple of extra matches. They'll be against pot 4 teams, maybe more winnable games, or that should be the theory anyway. So I think that's hopefully where the club and Brendan Rodgers are really, you know, looking at things this summer. Can we make an impact in this new Champions League? I think Brendan Rodgers has played a blinder over the past couple of months of the season, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him like that from the start of the season. I see that he and Callum McGregor have given a kind of lengthy interview with Sky that I think is going to be aired
Friday,
some stage soon. Friday. Thank you, Stevie, for being on the ball. He described What did he say about McGregor? A man I would trust with my life.
Yeah, if only I could say the same for you, Hamish, but no, it's not quite a relationship like that, is it? But you remember the stories about, I think McGregor was the player that flew out to Mallorca to go and specifically speak to Brendan, so two of them have already got a pretty strong relationship. You knew that anyway, and the way that Brendan stood by him as well this season, because let's get real here, Callum McGregor wasn't great at times this season. Callum McGregor went missing for quite a portion of the season, but the way
I think that's harsh.
Right, okay, maybe that is harsh, but he was certainly out of form and he wasn't playing to the potential. He wasn't playing at the level that me and you expect him to. Maybe I was pretty harsh on him at times this season, but again, I've just got really high standards for Callum McGregor, so I'm not going to apologise to him for that. And I don't think McGregor's going to, if he ever found out that a deadbeat like myself was criticising him, I think as well McGregor would be the first to criticise himself because he's got high standards. Look, when you've won the amount that he has, that's his standards will be ridiculous. You know what I mean? That he'll set himself, but
he was great at the end of the season.
Oh, he was outstanding towards the end of the season. Yeah, I'm building up to that. I'm building up to the positives. But yeah, as long as we've got Callum McGregor on form and the manager's always going to have faith in him. I think that's a very happy, healthy relationship, and it stands us in good stead going forward as well. I would say, Hamish. Sorry, I'm just a wee bit thirsty here, mate. I'm just going to have a wee swag, right?
Oh, I'm not sure about the colours. What is that?
I know, it's a wee 10 extra. Remember the last time we did a...
Where'd you get that? Is that the Loudon?
No comment. No, I got it from the Tenants Brewery, back in January. I just hadn't opened it, but I thought since it's the end of the season, we've won the league and all that, and me and you would usually have a swig of beer together, but since we can't, I'll just have one for the Perez, so don't worry about that.
Try to think if I've even got any beers in the house. It's also 7:30 in the morning here, but that wouldn't stop me.
Well, it's just more about you, Hamish, than anything. But I bet your beers are dead warm as well. I bet they're not even cold. I bet they're just roasting room temperature beers.
You've got this weird kind of thing that it's absolutely roast. Melbourne's like the coldest city in Australia. Fair enough, it's probably not colder than Scotland, but it's kind of still dark outside. It's not going to be particularly warm.
Oh, my heart bleeds. Really. We're not getting my violin in a minute.
Oh, please don't. Final point I'd make on that. I think Rio Hatate, was poor in the final, and in general, end of the season, he wasn't one who really reached that top level. But you look at when Hatate came back into the team, Celtic went on a winning run from that point. I think that's important to note, and I think that made a difference in our season. Maybe it's coincidental, but I sense there's something. Even if he wasn't playing at the top of his game, maybe him coming back, freed O'Reilly up a little bit, and he wasn't doing all the creation or creativity. Anyway, talking of Matt O'Reilly, disappointing news, I'm afraid. He's been left out of the 26-man Denmark squad for the Euros. I'm just looking at the midfielders they chose, Stevie. Christian Eriksen.
Don't get me started.
Christian Eriksen is only 32 years old. He's been around for about 20 years.
Eriksen's not the one that I've got a major issue with, to be honest, because I think...
So you've got Delaney, Thomas Delaney, who's another Irish-sounding name alongside Matt O'Reilly. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who I think is abysmal.
I'm going to have a drink before I start this rant.
He's a different kind of player to O'Reilly, but I just think he's not great. I've seen him a fair bit for, obviously, Spurs this season. Watched them. Matthias Jensen, not sure who he plays for. I think Mikkel Damsgaard, Christian Norgard, and Morten Hjulmand are all with Brentford, I think. I mean... Damsgaard's a pretty decent player, but O'Reilly, I get the argument to an extent about he plays in Scottish football, but O'Reilly's done it in the Champions League this season. Those 2 assists for Kyogo, especially the one against Atletico, were world class. In Denmark, O'Reilly shouldn't just be in that squad for me. O'Reilly should be playing for Denmark, the quality he's got.
Yeah, I think the Højbjerg was a big one that stood out for me. Any time I've watched him this season for Spurs, he's a liability. I would go as
slow as a week listening to you.
I would go as far as to say he's a disgrace. He's awful. He's such a crap footballer, and
going to be some laugh when we sign him this summer for our Champions League push.
It'll be hilarious. It'll be when he's in a team in the Euros or something, and I've got everybody in Denmark wanting to clip this and laugh at me. But I'll tell you what, something is rotten in the state of Denmark, but for the fact that he is in that team, I can't get my head around it, and that's a big one for me. Right, the manager can turn around and say, listen, we all know the state of the Scottish League, right? We and you talk it up as best we can. We are fairly positive about Scottish football, and I generally am, other than when it comes to talking about St Johnstone or Dundee. I generally give a lot of teams credit. But I know the limitations of this league, and I know that it's a very low bar, right, compared to the rest of the leagues out there in world football. No stupid. But Matt O'Reilly has just been absolutely terrific. Like, to set that, and the consistency that he's shown this season has been just extraordinary. And as you say, the big argument for me was the performances and assists in the Champions League. Like, he actually stood out. It wasn't just a case of Matt O'Reilly was actually looking okay and it was like the best of a bad lot. He genuinely stood out in games for us. 5-0 away, 2-0. Poor performance, but I thought Matt O'Reilly was certainly the best player in the park for Celtic that game. The assists against Lazio, Atletico Madrid, and then Feyenoord, last minute of the game. Remember that one where he could have blasted it, but he took that wee touch, put it into the back post, and the vision that he showed at that stage of the game was just incredible. I don't know why anybody wouldn't watch any of those clips for Matt O'Reilly in the Champions League. Just forget Celtic took a doing in some of the games, right? Forget the fact that Celtic finished bottom of the group. Focus purely on his individual performances, and you can clearly see that this is a guy that is destined for bigger and better things. He's got a high ceiling out of anybody in that squad, and again with his age and everything as well. Like, even if you picked him in that squad, right, and he didn't exactly set the world on fire with his performances, he'll gain the experiences, and then for the next Denmark squad for the World Cup or the Euros, he'd get even better and he would improve. I've got no doubt about it. I think it's an incredibly arrogant move for that Denmark manager, but it's borderline stupidity not to include Matt O'Reilly. But I'm saying all that now, and if he goes on to win the Euros, then I'll look like an absolute idiot. But yeah, it really is a surprise. I want to have Højbjerg this season over Matt O'Reilly. Can't get my head around it.
Yeah, they are different kinds of players, but even you look at the more attacking players, and the only thing I can think is they're playing in a stronger league, but it's not even this season from Matt O'Reilly. Surely as a manager going into the Euros, you're looking at what kind of form are they in, and I know he was kind of quiet in the cup final, but O'Reilly's form up until that point, there can't be many players playing better than that, and Danish players playing better than that at the moment. For me, he should have been there. It's probably not a great thing to say, but if there was in it a kind of small injury picked up by one of those midfielders and it allowed O'Reilly to get in, I'd be pretty pleased, because I'm quite gutted for him, to be honest. I think it's kind of obvious how much it means to him, and I just think away from the footballing ability, he's a genuinely kind of nice guy. Matt O'Reilly's a good guy. He thinks a lot of Celtic. He's been brilliant for Celtic. Who knows if he stays? Who knows if he goes? But I guess the consolation would be if he misses out on this Euros. I think by the next World Cup, assuming Denmark are there, he's going to be in the squad. But I think it's only going to be the 4 Scottish players. That's the only players we're going to have at the Euros, which is changed. I mean, imagine Scotland hadn't qualified. We'd be looking at no Celtic players at the Euros.
That's a good shout, yeah. But again, it's a positive, isn't it? Because you're looking at a fit and healthy squad to come back and reporting into pre-season. No fatigue, no tiredness, no risk of injuries. Players just enjoying their time off and coming back into pre-season fit and ready to go.
Right, goalkeeping update. Previously linked Cohen Casteels appears to be heading for Saudi Arabia. Must be something going on there. Newly promoted Al Qadsiya wanting to sign him. Belgian outlet HLN reporting that. So I think we can kind of take that as gospel pretty much, that he's not going to be coming to Celtic. We don't know how interested we actually were in him. However, we've moved on for him, Stevie, because that's what we do. We are hearing chat of 26-year-old Turkish goalkeeper Altay Bayindir coming in. Now, he is Manchester United's backup goalkeeper. I don't know what that says about him, given that Andre Onana is their first choice goalkeeper and he's not particularly great. He cost Man United around £4 million last summer from Fenerbahce, so he's already played for two pretty big clubs. Capped 8 times by Turkey. I think we were in for like the other Turkish goalkeeper, the first choice earlier in the summer or earlier in the year. And he's very tall, Stevie. He's 6'6", according to Wikipedia. Turkish outlet Aksam saying that Bayindir is set to leave United. They write that Celtic are preparing to add him to the squad to replace Joe Hart and that we plan to sign him on a 4-year deal. Do you think there's anything in this? Do you know anything about Bayindir?
Sorry, what country did you say he's from?
Turkey.
That's still the old Ottoman Empire to me, mate. Thank you, Hamish. I don't know. I mean, look, all I will say is I've got to be very careful about what I say here, and I mean that sincerely, right? But somebody who has given a couple of very accurate tips in the past, and you know what I'm talking about. Yes, you remember the two, and they turned out to be spot on.
I can verify. Am I allowed to say what they were? No,
don't say any of that. But you can verify it. I'm not talking nonsense, right?
Both shouts about players coming to Celtic, they both happened.
And this was put in a chat about a couple of hours or so before it was on social media and news and everything. He just posted a transfer market link to this goalkeeper, and I thought it was very vague. Didn't answer any other questions after it, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens there. But you always knew there was going to be mind games, right? Like Man United, I believe, have denied the rumour, said that he's set to join. And I think some people have seen that and jumped to gun a wee bit. Like, it's not a case. I don't think Celtic were ever going to identify a goalkeeper and then announce him before June. They have to get their act together and they have to get a goalie in very quickly. But I don't ever think we're going to see a goalkeeper in before June. So no, we'll just have to wait and see. I don't really know a lot about the guy. I know that we were looking at was it the Trabzonspor goalkeeper?
Yeah.
It was Shakir, I think it was. I remember that last summer.
Shakir, yeah.
Look, all I can take from it is that hopefully we are taking this ultra seriously, that we need to get a goalkeeper in pronto, because we cannot, under any no circumstance can we go into the first game of the season, even pre-season, with Scott Bain as goalkeeper. I'm not even counting Benjamin Siegrist because I'm assuming he'll be away in the next couple of weeks. So we cannot be getting into a position where Scott Bain is in goal. And I'm not saying it in a position of when I'm sneering at a guy, and I'm not in a position where I'm looking down my nose or that. I think Scott Bain offers plenty to the squad. I don't think he'd be hanging around Celtic for this long if he didn't add something in the dressing room or the squad itself, you know. But if we want to be serious, as you were saying, in Europe, and I really, really do this season, because I'm sick and tired of being punch bags, and I'm sick and tired of just watching us getting annihilated or being letdowns. I think we've got to prepare in the very best way possible, and that involves getting a goalkeeper in very quickly. And it's not a project goalkeeper, it's not a goalkeeper that is very obscure. I think we've got to get a very proven quality goalkeeper in there. Easier said than done, I suppose, but this is why there's people at Celtic on a lot more money than me and you, Hamish, that are trusted to be making these decisions. And this is a year that they've got to get it right. And I think this position is very vital that we get it right. Because I remember, you look at how big a goalkeeper, not literally, right, but how big a goalkeeper can be, but I just mean when you look at Arthur Boric, Fraser Forster in the Champions League, like, see when Celtic were qualifying past the group stages into the last 16, that was because we had a strong goalkeeper. Arthur Boric, at times, was winning points on his own. You look at the defence he had in front of him, Naylor, McManus, Caldwell, and either Hinko, or even at times Telfer, actually, you know. And he was winning, he was that good. He was winning games on his own. Like Man United, for example, saving that penalty in big moments. And Fraser Forster after that. You know what I mean? Because we had an outstanding campaign and Fraser Forster was so key to it. So if you have a quality goalkeeper behind the defence, makes all the difference. And I think Celtic, it literally does make all the difference if you look at us historically when we've progressed into the latter stages, and we've just got to get this one right this season.
Yeah, I think a goalkeeper who can win you points and win you matches in Europe would be vital. And yeah, I'm not against the whole looking at maybe a backup goalkeeper from a big club. I know some people maybe turn their nose up at that. You know, as I say, he's back up to Onana. He can't be that good. Ten Hag's obviously going to keep going with Onana because he was his player. I think, you know, Bayindir played a cup game possibly for Man United, so you'd think he'd be kind of chomping at the bit to go if Celtic were to move for him. As I say, we'll see if anything comes from this, but I just wanted to bring you, I mean, it's about the 7th or 8th goalkeeping name that we've had so far, so expect at least a few more before we eventually settle on who we want. Yesterday's video, just briefly, Stevie, I did this keep, sell or loan summary. As I say, I think I went for 17 players I was keeping from the current squad, 7 sold and 6 loaned. I did actually forget Bosun Lawal on yesterday's video, so thanks to the people who pointed that out. Some people saying I forgot James McCarthy as well. Don't worry, I didn't. James McCarthy, as far as I'm concerned, is no longer with Celtic. I'm pretty sure he's on gardening leave or some sort of thing like that. He wasn't in any of the celebrations. He wasn't even in the team photo this year. But anyway, Stevie, are there any big things there that you disagree with?
Yeah, the biggest one of this, I agree with 95% of that. I do disagree with O, and this is coming from someone who's actually a fan of O. I like him.
You'd sell him?
But I think he needs to go for his own benefit because I don't think we're going to see O. We saw him already this season. I think he has declined. He scored very important goals for us this season. I'm not going to forget St Mirren at home, for example, but I just feel O would be best served moving on for the club. I think he's a talent, but I don't think I think he needs to be playing week in, week out for the sake of his own career. And I think he'd be an asset at a club a couple of levels down for Celtic, but I don't think O is ever going to be a Celtic striker with the point that we can rely on him on a week-to-week basis. And I say we need to get serious this season. We can't be having any passengers anymore. And again, I think Celtic have to show a more ruthless side. Don't care how nice a guy he is and how funny he is. And he seems well liked as well in the dressing room. And again, that's their positive qualities. But I think for O's benefit, he needs to move on and he needs to be the main man for a different club, possibly in Europe or elsewhere. But I don't think it's going to work out for him at Celtic that way. And I think we could still make a profit on him because, you know, I don't think he's not a dud. I don't think he's a poor footballer. I think he's technically very good. But when you look at what Adam Ida did, and he was on loan, that was the type of thing we expected from O, you know, to bring physicality and to bail us out in situations when our main number 9 couldn't. I just don't think it's going to work out between Celtic and O, and I don't think he's going to be able to be relied upon. Other than that, I agree with the rest of it, but I think, yeah, I would move O from being loaned out and move them into the selling category.
Fair enough. I just really like him, and I actually think he's not been harshly treated because I guess you get what you deserve. But I just feel like it's difficult when Kyogo's at Celtic because you're never going to get opportunities really, and especially now he does come in and listen, he does done more than O has in his 6 months compared to O's 18 months. But O's scored a number of goals for Celtic. His game minute per goal record is pretty good, and I'd loan him out rather than selling. But anyway, those are the players. But what about the all important kits, Stevie? Well, on Wednesday we had our new home kit revealed, and if you missed it, take a look at this. Right, that is the new home kit. Stevie, what do you think? I know you're a hard man to please with this kind of stuff, but I put it to you that this is the nicest home kit we have had in years.
It's very nice. It is. Honestly, I thought it looked very smart. I only have It's not. It's actually not a complaint. It's more the fact that Celtic already have a screamer of a kit under Adidas that I just compare everything to that limited edition one. You know the one I'm on about last season.
Aye.
It's the
That wasn't
perfect.
like an actual.
I know, but I will never need. I will never buy another home kit again because
Well,
of
that's
how
a
nice
lie.
that is. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Honestly, I'll put a bet on me that I won't buy another home kit just because of how nice that is. So the limited one was that amazing that I'm going to be resorted to away and third kits for everyone. But no, fair play to Adidas after last season's shocker. They have redeemed themselves, and I have no complaints for the fact that it will be an absolute sellout of a kit. So yes, there you go.
I just think it's like an example this year's of just keeping it simple just works so well. I love it. Honestly, I think it's so nice. And like the thing is, like these kits, I think always grow on you as the season goes on. Like even that monstrosity from this season, I'm not saying it ever got to the stage that I particularly liked it, but it looked better at the end of the season than it did at the start. Because I think your eyes are kind of used to it. So I think this is certainly going to look better. We also had this dark green one leaked yesterday. I think the away kit is going to be yellow next season, so this could potentially be a third kit. Nice enough, again, quite simple. I'm happy for them to go simple because I think that works. I think when you overcomplicate kits, it becomes a bit of an issue. Did you see this dark green one?
I did, yeah, I saw it and forwarded on many times and all that. Yes, I seen it. Aye, it's pretty smart as well. I'm excited to see this yellow one because anytime I think Celtic yellow kits, they're always generally very iconic, aren't they? I always think
Not
back
had
to
a
that one.
yellow Adidas one yet. What was the
No,
last
not
yellow
an
one,
Adidas one.
Stevie?
The last yellow one, I believe, was the one when we scored in Rome and Cham. That
Yes,
one,
yes,
I'm sure. And
yes.
but I'm just thinking like before that we've always had like a decent yellow kit. But obviously, I remember when I was a wee boy, one of the first kits I had it's now the retro kit. You know the yellow one. It's got the green sort of like stripes all down it.
Yeah.
C.R. Smith one. That was one of the first kits I ever had bought for me as a kid. So I've always had a soft spot for the yellow Celtic kit. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a nice one. But aye, look, no complaints from me with Adidas. I think they've knocked it out of the park with that home one. As I say, I won't be buying it because the limited edition is just so perfect. But if somebody wants to donate it to me, that'd be fine. I'd take that. That's fine.
Get in touch with JD. They might have you modelling it and all of that stuff. You're quite a big
I'll
name these days.
Probably jack him at this rate, by the way, man.
Oh, right. Finally, just a wee bit of fun. We had Tom Flanagan, big fan of the channel, messaging and asking if we would do a Celtic AM awards show. And I think that's a good shout. And the only thing is we're not going to be doing like a normal awards show like Player of the Year and all of that stuff. And we certainly won't be doing this half-arsed, like certainly not me waking up at 6:45 this morning and thinking, what award should we put together? So with that in mind, Stevie, what are the awards we decided on? Can you even be bothered to remember?
For God's sake. I think one was the Matt O'Reilly moment, wasn't it? I can't. This is so bad, by the way.
Matt O'Reilly moment of the year.
Matt
What
O'Reilly
are you going for?
So many. Just so many moments. On the spot, that assist against Hearts for Furuhashi to make it 2-0. At the game, I did an Ian Crocker. I actually went, oh wow. I'm not going to do his voice, but I actually said at the game out loud, going, oh wow, when he passed. It's just a phenomenal pass. So many moments, so I'm not going to take up your time. I know we're still on the clock here, Hamish, but yeah, the Matt O'Reilly moment in the season was just that pass to make it 2-0 against Hearts on the 4th of May, I believe it was. Just out of this world. Phenomenal.
I've not even really thought about this. I would say the pass for Kyogo against Atletico, given that the quality of the opposition. You know, Atletico are probably one of the best defensive teams in Europe and have been for the last 10 years, and that pass, that it didn't really look like it was even on. The fact he was able to pull that pass, see the slow motion kind of angle of that when I think he's literally almost just standing on the spot and kind of hops onto his left foot and just he kind of I don't even know how he just guides it towards Kyogo. I just thought that was a moment when I looked and went, Matt O'Reilly's going right to the top. Like the quality of that pass is incredible. So that would be mine.
Do you know how they made a far better pass than that though?
Riley McGree.
Nah, Højbjerg. That's why he's in that Denmark team. What a player he is.
Yes, it's hard to disagree with that. Right, I believe another topic we've got was Rangers' meltdown of the year. Have you got any thoughts on this?
There's a few. Well, there was a few, but no. I think
I like that.
Aye, that was good. I'm torn between two. Clement after the 2-1 game when he just lost the plot. It was at Keredinitsan, I believe it was. Just asking that a question. Clement with that one. That's when I started seeing, by the way, this guy, he looks as if he cracks right under pressure. But I think the best one was after we beat them 1-0, the first game of the season. That guy with on just kept basically giving it. It was like the data party coming in for his work on the night shift. Outstanding. It was but it was actually legitimately very funny. Like the guy behind it deserves a bit of appreciation because it was just comic timing, and it also fell under the raging category too. But aye, that was my favourite Rangers meltdown moment of the year, definitely.
Mine would be the celebrations after they drew 3-3 with us. Just we watched it at the time, and the thing I love is that
they drew. No, mate, it was a victory. Remember,
they won 3-0. They won 3-0 that day. Moral victory. Honestly, see watching that back, like it reminds me so much. I remember Steven Gerrard at Celtic Park those years ago. And to be fair to Gerrard, they actually won that day at Celtic Park, but it just sums that mob up. I saw one of their fans tweeting yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, an image of Sterling sitting on Greg Taylor from the Cup final, and the caption was something like, he just gets it. And I was looking at that and going, their standards compared to our standards are just ridiculous. And imagine even Celtic in that position coming back. And I know they scored late on to get a draw and they were 2-0 down at half time. I get it to a tiny extent, but if Celtic had been in the exact same position, do you think Callum McGregor would have been walking around applauding the fans and Rodgers would have been giving it all of that? No, they'd have gone round and they'd have clapped the fans, but they'd just been applause. They'd been up that tunnel and they'd have been going, that's a game we should have won. And looking back, Rangers probably had to win that game to win the league. They didn't, and yet they still celebrated. So that's my meltdown of the year.
Yeah, good show on that one. Good show. There was something else. There was another one. There was another one where I saw, I think Balogun got a contract yesterday maybe, and I think there was this photo. I don't know if I forwarded it on to you, but it was one I get sent on, and somebody on social media was saying like it was right after he'd scored. About 5 Rangers players are on the deck. Balogun's collecting the ball, and somebody basically said that's why he's getting a contract. First one to go and pick the ball up at the back of the net, and you're like, gee,
Butland should get a new contract if that's what you need to do.
Yeah, as you say, standards and that. But yeah, it was a new low.
Unsung Celtic hero of the season, I'm going for poor old Stevie Wright, just because I still feel sorry for him after Brendan Rodgers gave him the dressing down of all dressing downs at I think half time of extra time in that cup semi against Aberdeen. You know the one I'm talking about. I said it at the time, I thought that was a really revealing moment. So I'm just giving it to Stevie Wright.
Okay, mine's is a controversial shout here. He doesn't get a lot of credit. He's shown up in major moments this season, and you can arguably say that his actions alone win us the league. So I'm going to go with Jonathan Lundstrom. I think he has been magnificent for us, and he just stood up to be counted on May the 11th at Celtic Park. So I would like to just pour one for Jonathan himself. Thank you.
To John. Any other
ladies
top?
ladies and gentlemen, John Lithgow.
We do love him, don't we? We do
Just an
love him.
example of the last we have here on Celtic AM.
Right, is it any other categories, or have we done this to death?
No, I think people have probably tuned out by now. Nah, I think it was just those who weren't looking
What
at.
would your being a little bit earnest? What would your memory of the season be? Moment of the season, whatever you want to call it.
God, but
I think for me,
that's a great question.
I don't know. People would probably go for like winning the league, or I guess Ida's goal against Rangers was pretty hard to beat. I said on Monday's video, for me that's the biggest goal we've scored potentially since Tom Rogic's cup final winner. I just think my moment of the season might be Dyson Maida's goal at Ibrox inside the first minute. I mean, for ridiculousness, just being in the pub, as I like to do for these matches, and just everyone just celebrating, but also, you know yourself, celebrating, but also like in disbelief, but also laughing your head off. Like it was a totally ridiculous moment. That'd be my moment of the season. Maida's goal. I don't think we'll ever see another goal as ridiculous as that in a derby. And never mind in a derby, inside the first minute.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal shout, because I was in said public house with friends of ours. I can sound like the Sopranos here, but yeah, I was in total disbelief at that as well, laughing, going wild, but generally just looking, going, what just happened? I missed it because I just saw the ball going in the back of the net. I'm turning around saying, keep it tight, we've got to make sure that we nullify that crowd. Next minute the ball's in, and yeah, oh God, I'm how bad's that? No, do you know, moment of the season would be Joe Hart obviously announcing his retirement, but the team rallying together, Joe Hart being professional, and it's been sending him off to retirement in style as he deserved. That would be my one scene. Joe Hart winning a double for me, because although we did stress on here, it was never the Joe Hart farewell tour. Celtic are more about just one player. Like, he's been outstanding for us. As I say, I criticised Joe Hart very heavily at the start of the season, and he won a man like me over. A stony-hearted man like me was an emotional mess on Trophy Day when he was doing his speech. So yeah, the way that he turned it around and won a double after I didn't think he had it in him this season. I thought it was just a bridge too far. But yeah, it was just amazing in those last 4 or 5 months. And yeah, I'll go with that. Joe Hart getting the send off that he deserved.
Yeah, fabulous. What a season, Stevie. And we'll keep talking throughout the summer, I think. Maybe take a break next week and then maybe get together in different circumstances at some stage in the future. But that's all we'll say. Yeah, have a wonderful weekend. That goes for the rest of you. Have you got much planned, Stevie?
I'm just going to watch that final on Saturday.
5 a.m. it's on here. It's just a bit miserable, but I've probably got up for it.
Well, I bloody love football, don't I?
Yeah, hopefully Dortmund do something, but I think you're going up against the world's second most successful team in Real Madrid, so it's going to be difficult for them. Right, everyone. On that wonderful note, let's head off. Speak to you on Monday.